this video, you're about to see 12 real AI breakthroughs that were openly described as unrealistic, infeasible, or simply not doable with the tools we had, until suddenly they were. Number 12. AI that detected cancer earlier than any human doctor. Doctors spend their entire careers learning to spot cancer in medical scans. Even the best radiologists in the world miss things. Some tumours are so small, so faint that they're practically invisible. Google's DeepMind developed an AI that analyses mammograms and chest scans with superhuman precision. In clinical studies, it detected breast cancer up to 2 years before symptoms appeared, catching tumours that trained radiologists missed entirely. It reduced false positives and false negatives at the same time, something doctors said was nearly impossible. The AI was seeing patterns in tissue invisible to the human eye, detecting cellular changes so subtle that no amount of training could catch them. Early detection is the single biggest factor in cancer survival, and artificial intelligence just made it radically better. Number 11. AI that can read and reconstruct your thoughts. An AI that looks at your brain activity and recreates the images you're seeing in your mind. It sounds impossible, but it's real. In 2023, researchers at Osaka University connected AI to fMRI brain scanners. They showed participants thousands of images while recording brain activity, then fed that data into Stable Diffusion. The AI reconstructed what people were looking at with roughly 80% accuracy. Teddy bears, airplanes, landscapes. It was literally turning thoughts into pictures. Experts had long argued that the brain's complexity made true mind reading impossible. The neural code was too personal, too noisy, too tangled. Yet here was an AI doing exactly that. The researchers believed this technology could one day allow completely paralyzed people to communicate just by thinking. That's not a promise. It's already in development. Number 10. AI that predicted earthquakes a week in advance. Predicting earthquakes has been called the holy grail of geoscience. The US Geological Survey itself stated that no scientist has ever predicted a major earthquake. The Earth was simply too chaotic. Then researchers at the University of Texas at Austin built an AI that correctly predicted 70% of earthquakes a full week before they happened during a 7-month trial in China. It pinpointed locations within 200 miles and at almost exactly the calculated strength. The AI won first place out of 600 competing designs. It detected tiny statistical patterns in seismic data that humans had always dismissed as noise, faint tremors, and shifts deep underground that reliably preceded major quakes. One researcher said it perfectly. What we thought was an impossible problem is solvable in principle. Earthquakes kill tens of thousands every year. Even a few days of warning could save countless lives. AI just gave us that window. Number 9. AI that reconstructed a dead language no human could read. Nearly 1 million clay tablets from ancient Mesopotamia sat untranslated for thousands of years because almost nobody alive could read Akkadian cuneiform, one of the world's oldest written languages. Researchers built a neural network that translates Akkadian cuneiform directly into English within seconds. Meanwhile, a team at MIT developed an algorithm that decoded Linear B, an ancient form of Greek that took human experts 60 years to decipher. The AI matched that work in just a few hours. Linguists assumed deciphering lost languages required decades of painstaking human intuition. The AI didn't need any of that. It found mathematical patterns in how languages evolve and reverse engineered the meaning. Dead civilizations are starting to speak again. Number 8. AI that solved a 50-year-old math problem. The legendary mathematician Paul Erdos left behind over 1,000 unsolved conjectures. Many had resisted proof for half a century. In 2025, AI tools helped solve roughly 100 Erdos problems. In one stunning case, a 50-year-old conjecture was cracked in just 48 hours. The AI constructed original proof strategies and spotted connections between distant branches of mathematics that humans had never considered. Separately, a system called Axiom Prover autonomously proved an open conjecture with zero human help, writing a formally verified proof that was cleaner than what graduate students produced after months of effort. Advanced mathematics was considered the ultimate domain of human genius. Pure logic, pure creativity. That assumption is crumbling fast. Number 7. AI-generated proteins that don't exist in nature. Every protein in nature evolved over billions of years. Designing entirely new ones from scratch was considered impossible. The chemical space was too vast, the folding rules too complex. Using deep learning models trained on known protein structures, researchers began generating completely novel proteins that fold into stable, functional shapes with no natural equivalent anywhere on Earth. These synthetic proteins combine to specific viruses, deliver drugs to targeted cells, or catalyze chemical reactions no natural enzyme can perform. This was supposed to take decades of trial and error in the lab. Instead, AI designs proteins in hours that work on the first try. The implications for medicine, agriculture, and industrial chemistry are staggering. We are no longer limited to what evolution gave us. AI is writing entirely new pages in the book of life. Number 6. AI that designed a new antibiotic to fight superbugs. Antibiotic resistance is one of the biggest threats facing humanity. For years, experts warned the golden age of antibiotic discovery was over. The pipeline was running dry, and superbugs like MRSA were winning. In 2020, an AI model from MIT discovered a new compound called halicin. It scanned massive chemical databases looking not for the usual patterns human chemists searched for, but for something entirely different. It identified molecules that researchers had overlooked for decades. Lab tests confirmed halicin was effective against some of the most resistant bacteria on the planet, including MRSA. Drug discovery had always been a slow, expensive, human-guided process. The idea that an algorithm could sift through chemical space and pinpoint a novel antibiotic contradicted everything the pharmaceutical industry believed. Yet, here it was. A drug candidate that no human chemist had ever imagined, pulled from the data by a machine. Pharmaceutical labs worldwide are now using AI to discover new drugs at a pace unthinkable 5 years ago. Number 5. AI that composed music, indistinguishable from Bach. Music was supposed to be the final frontier of human creativity, especially the work of Bach, whose compositions are considered among the most complex in history. Sony's computer science laboratories built a neural network called Deep Bach, trained on 352 of Bach's chorales. They tested its compositions on over 1,600 listeners, including professional musicians. More than half believed Deep Bach's work was written by Bach himself. Even when listeners heard actual Bach, they only identified it correctly 75% of the time. The subtle interplay of harmony and melody in Bach's work was supposed to be the signature of irreplaceable genius, but the AI had learned those patterns so deeply that it could generate music indistinguishable from the master's own hand. If AI can fool trained musicians into thinking a machine composed a Bach chorale, what else can it create? Number 4. AI that discovered 2.2 million new materials for better batteries. Every major technology leap depends on new materials, but finding them has always been agonizingly slow. Over the past decade, computational methods identified about 28,000. Then Google DeepMind released IGNO-ME, a deep learning tool that predicted 2.2 million new materials in a single sweep. That's equivalent to 800 years of human research. Among the discoveries, 528 lithium-ion conductors for better batteries, and 52,000 layered compounds similar to graphene that could revolutionize electronics. Over 700 have already been created in real labs. An autonomous robotic lab at Berkeley even started synthesizing predictions without human help, creating more than 40 new materials in 17 days. Better batteries, cheaper solar panels, faster computer chips. The materials for all of it might already be sitting in that database, waiting to be built. Number 3. AI that identifies diseases from the sound of a cough. An AI that tells what's wrong with you by listening to you cough. It sounds too simple, but it works. MIT developed an AI that detects COVID-19 from cell phone recorded coughs with 98.5% accuracy, even in people with zero symptoms. It picks up subtle differences in vocal cord strength and respiratory patterns invisible to the human ear. Google trained its HEAR model on 300 million audio samples to detect tuberculosis. An Australian company demonstrated 92% COVID detection accuracy from coughs alone, and Pfizer acquired them for $179 million. Imagine your phone listening to your cough and telling you to see a doctor before you even feel sick. That world is arriving. Number 2. AI that beat the world's best poker players using bluffing. Chess is complete information. Poker is built on hidden cards, deception, and reading opponents. Experts said AI would never master it because bluffing requires psychology. In 2019, Pluribus, built by Carnegie Mellon and Facebook, played 6-player Texas Hold'em against 15 top professionals, including World Poker Tour and World Series champions. Over 20,000 hands, it crushed them all, winning about $1,000 per hour. The AI bluffed, adapted, and made moves the pros couldn't comprehend. One defeated pro said he felt hopeless, like nothing he did could win. Pluribus learned entirely by playing against copies of itself. No human data, no coaching. It invented strategies from scratch, including moves professionals consider bad plays, but that turned out mathematically optimal. An AI that can deceive and outthink humans at their most psychologically complex game. Number 1, AI that predicted the structure of every known protein, and this is the big one. The discovery many scientists consider the most important AI breakthrough in history. Predicting how proteins fold into their final three-dimensional shape had stumped researchers for over 50 years. In 2020, Google DeepMind unveiled AlphaFold, an AI that solved the protein folding problem with accuracy comparable to experimental methods that take months in the lab. Then they went further. AlphaFold predicted the structures of over 200 million proteins, every protein known to science, and released the entire database for free. A problem that defined an entire field of biology for half a century, solved in days. Researchers who spent years on a single protein watched AI do the same work in minutes. When the Nobel Prize in Chemistry was awarded for this work, it confirmed what everyone already knew. AI hadn't just assisted science, it had fundamentally transformed it. These 12 examples prove that AI isn't just getting smarter, it's seeing things we never could. It's reading our brains, predicting earthquakes, decoding lost civilizations, designing life-saving drugs, and composing music that fools the experts. Every single one of these breakthroughs was dismissed as impossible by the people who understood the problems best. But this doesn't diminish what it means to be human. It expands what's possible. AI is becoming the most powerful lens humanity has ever built. One that lets us see deeper into our bodies, further into the earth, and wider across the universe of knowledge than we ever imagined. If we had shown these achievements to scientists 20 years ago, they would have dismissed everyone as fantasy. But they're all real, they're happening right now, and the pace is only accelerating. The question isn't whether AI will keep surprising us, it's whether we're ready for what it sees next. Subscribe for more.